Let me welcome our new friend here, Travys Starr. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So this is a cool, unique situation, as we were discussing earlier, that, this is the first time that we have a guest in here that neither of us know.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I've been the one meeting strangers. Jeff's the one that's connected to all these wonderful people.
Yeah, this is a new experience for me.
So we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Jeff, explain how this happened.
Well, yeah, our schedule's been pretty crazy since we started this, but we had the Sunday after New Year's Eve open, and I didn't figure it wasn't going to be easy to book somebody for this day.
Yeah,
I didn't want to start reaching out to people because people are just. I probably played last night. I don't really want to do it. So the way I did it, I made a post on Facebook and said, "Hey, I got New Year's Day is open. The first person that sends me a freaking PM and says they want to come in and do an interview, you're the guy."
And that's Travys Starr, baby.
Travys sent me the message, and I instantly went and deleted the post I had just made so that I didn't get contacted by a bunch of other people.
Yeah,
and that's how we did it for this particular one, because I knew it was going to be difficult to try to reach out to people to book this day.
Thank you for stepping up, Travys.
Yes, we really
thank you for
appreciate
having me.
Absolutely.
So what part of town do you live in?
I am actually down in a very tiny town called Ashland in Mississippi.
Yeah.
How far is that from here?
It's an hour from everything.
Yeah. He's not far from my farm out there.
Oh, so that way.
It's
Marshall County?
That direction.
Benton County, actually.
Further out?
Yeah.
Wow, so that's a hike for you, so I appreciate this.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I mean, like I said, everywhere we go, it's like an hour away. And I'm kind of used to that when I was in Seattle. Even if it was just like 20 miles away, it was an hour drive just because of traffic and the amount of people. Now it's just actual distance.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's pretty cool, though,
It is. It's nice. It's quiet. There's not a lot of, street lights at night, and I can see the stars, and no one complains when I play my guitar loud. So that's really good.
That's what we're going to talk about. We want to cover you as a musician and artist and everything. You have a band called Sun Red, moody music for moody people. And, I'm definitely the moody person.
Sounds like my wife should listen to this. No, I'm kidding, sweetheart. Total joke.
But, okay, you mentioned Seattle. So is that where you're from?
Yeah, I grew up in Washington, in a small town, much like I live in now. But when I was a teenager, I moved to Tacoma, which is a slightly bigger town, and then eventually moved to Seattle, mid-'90s, I want to say. I started playing in bands in the bar scene there.
Okay. Was it music of the time?
Actually, no. We were probably the biggest misfit band in Seattle and Tacoma at the time. We sounded like somebody had taken Ramones music and made it easier but worse, and looked like a cheap version of Poison.
Oh, nice.
So
do you have any photographs you can share?
There are some pictures on the Book of Faces that are well hidden.
Okay.
That sounds like something I would have found on MySpace.
Yeah.
I loved MySpace.
MySpace was great when it first came out.
It's like making your own little website.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, cool. How did the bridge from Seattle or Washington State to Mississippi? And I have a story. I'm from Maine, so anytime there's a huge leap and you end up living in Mississippi, there's a story behind it.
My wife's from Alabama, and her family's all still there. And basically, it just got down to financial means. Like, Seattle is just incredibly expensive to live in, and I'd like to retire someday and just focus on music and have a recording studio that I work in. And so we had talked about moving to the South for years. And then we found a house we liked. And all of a sudden we were literally driving across the country.
So when was this? What year?
Just last year. Yeah. It is last year, since today's the first day of the new year.
Well, welcome to Mississippi.
Thank you,
Travys. I've been in the Memphis, North Mississippi area since 2011, so 11, 12 years now.
Right.
And I love it. I love it down here. So I think you'll enjoy it out here. It's peaceful. It's
so
cool.
far I do.
Yeah. And you may be an hour away, but this side of DeSoto, like here in DeSoto County, you get everything you need. So, and there's a lot of different places you can go to. So
the makeup of that band, Sun Red, is what's the structure? Is it a guitar player, bass player, drummer, singer? How did that work?
It was me on guitars and vocals, bass player, keyboard player, and drummer.
Okay. Okay.
And on a lot of the recordings, it was me on keyboards, guitar, vocals,
Okay.
and then bass player and drummer.
All right. So, how many instruments do you play?
The better question is, how many don't I play?
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you.
That's what I'm talking about.
So,
right there.
you do a lot of stringed instruments, keys.
Yep.
You can do it just about anything.
Yeah.
Was piano first?
Actually, yes, but it was organ first.
Okay.
And
Well, I love asking that because it just seems like anyone that starts on keys, what piano, organ, whatever it may be, the ivories, right?
Right.
That really sets you up at a young age on how to understand theory, which then can quickly transition to you in playing anything. Anything that's in this kind of tuning and everything. It's just a matter of then getting some chops, right?
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to me. So it sounds like that's kind of where you started.
Yeah, like my grandfather brought home this beat up console organ from an auction one day, and it had like a bunch of teach yourself Christmas songs in it. So
there you go.
I'd play Christmas music for my family, and pretty much everyone in my family was a musician or singer or something. So it just sort of happened. And then years later, I picked up clarinet in school band. And a few more years later, my uncle, who was a drummer, was taking guitar lessons. And I found his guitar and picked it up and could play better than he could. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to give you a guitar.
And how old were you with the guitar?
I got my first one when I was 12.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, great age. I'm 13, 14. It's just right because you have no responsibilities.
Yeah.
And you can sit and practice for 8 hours a day.
All the time in the world.
Make noise and drive the parents crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, great. And I would gather because of that, when you're recording and everything, you must play a lot of bass, right? I mean, you just kind of throw in bass tracks or?
I'll throw in bass tracks. I'm not the world's best bass player. I've played bass in a couple of bands for people when their bass players quit. They're like, we need somebody. I'm like, well, I can come in and fill in. And, occasionally I'll come up with a good idea and I'll show it to a real bass player and they'll be like, oh, that's a great starting point.
It's a great starting point. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'll take it from here. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Sun Red.
Yeah. Are you looking to build that band here now?
I definitely am. I've actually had some good jam sessions and some bad jam sessions with some local players.
Yeah. So it started in Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned that here, maybe when we were talking off mic. So I want to make sure we get that in. So it started in Seattle. What year? What were we talking about?
Right before, like 6 months before the pandemic hit, we were actually starting to play shows.
Just in time, right?
Yeah, just in time to get shut down.
So mid-19.
Yeah.
Mid-19.
I got you. All right. So you've done some jam sessions here with local folks. And have you had any success? Anybody that you've liked enough to keep? Or
as of yet, no.
Okay.
I had one guy, a drummer that I really enjoyed, and he just sort of disappeared after the second jam and never heard from him again. And then there was a kid that was really interested, but not really a drummer, but he was trying really hard, but never got any better. So I was just like, we need to move on.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised in Memphis. I think you'll fit in. Whatever, there's a pretty eclectic styles of music out here, man. Memphis is full of good people and players. So I hope that you can connect with the right people.
So do I.
and look, whenever you're trying to put together something original like that, it can take time.
Oh yeah,
it
took me 2 years to put the original band together in Seattle before we even started working on stuff.
Right.
From the time my last project ended to the time I officially said, okay, this is the band and I have players.
Right.
I know sometimes this isn't a fun question because it's hard to answer, but if you could try to explain to us the vibe. Right now I have moody music for moody people. Can we elaborate off of that?
Yeah. So it's kind of an eclectic mashup of like dark pop, psychedelia, 70s hard rock, pretty much everything that I really love. I tried to drive into it and not pigeonhole myself into, okay, it's one particular genre. Like my previous bands were very like punk and roll or glam rock or, hard rock, very, very specific kind of writing style. And I would only stay in that genre and I wouldn't try and stretch out. On this one moment you could have some like droney East Indian influenced electric song. And the next moment it's like, a nice acoustic ballad or something.
Okay.
It really varies and I try to keep it that way. And I want to be able to have a broad window.
Well, it's art.
Yeah.
And it can be different things.
Yeah.
It's just an expression of you, and people have different parts of their personality.
And a lot of times that's what I guess, causes it to take so much time to put something together because you have to find 3 or 4 or 5 other like-minded people who are wanting to listen to and work the same type of magic that you want to work.
Yeah.
And not everybody thinks the same way. You know?
We've had the fortune of, he's wearing a shirt right now. It's a Fever Tree shirt. There's another band called Fast Mothers. And
I am actually friends with the Fast Mothers.
Yeah.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah.
Bass player for one of my previous bands in Seattle was from Memphis and knew Chris and his brother.
Okay.
Nice. Well, we
Awesome.
can talk forever about them. For sure.
Yeah.
But and especially for me, kind of like I said, he's brought me into this whole community. Thankful for Jeff. And it's just enlightening to see the original acts and kind of finally experiencing that. Because you're right. It's such a different commitment.
Sure.
Cover bands are amazing. That's my career.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mine too.
You have to be dedicated. You have to show up prepared.
Yep.
So it's as badass. But the original side it's got that different dynamic where it's now it's people's heart and soul into it. So you're seeing someone genuine, you know, and not trying to play other people's songs, which just changes that dynamic.
It does.
Finding cover players is easier with regards. All you got to do is put together, okay, I like modern country. Here's a list of songs by artists. Do you, Mr. Guitar Player, is that the kind of stuff you listen to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do it. It's a little different when it's original music. You can't do that. It's
Here's a
coming
list of
from up
bands
here.
that I really like, and they may not make sense together to you, but they make sense together to me in my head.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it sounds like because relatively speaking, you started soon and then it was right before COVID. I would guess this is still like a clean slate.
Yeah,
just first beginning.
I've got a bunch of rough recordings that we did in my studio back in Seattle, and you know, I look at it as it's a place to start from. And I've got a whole set's worth of ideas and then some that aren't really finished that we never really flushed out. But
right. And we asked Tim Dills when he was in here this question, and I think it applies here as well. So the writing process, how do you really approach that? Is that something where you come up with lyrics first and then maybe put some music to it? Or do you sit down at an organ or piano and come up with chords and structure first and then put lyrics to that?
That's like asking, how does a storm happen? For me, it can be any of the above. Like sometimes I'll just be sitting there staring off into space or watching TV, and all of a sudden something will click in my head and I'll jot down some lyrics.
Cool.
And, you know, maybe 3 years down the road, I might actually come up with music to go with those lyrics.
Gotcha.
Or on the flip side, you know, I'll just be noodling around on my guitar and I'll come up with something I really like and then think about any type of feeling or, you know, idea that might inspire me and then base the lyrics on that.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah, just fit the mold, get those syllables in there.
Or, you know, it just comes from jamming, and sometimes I hear a cool drum beat. I'm like, oh, I've got an idea. And I suddenly start playing something and then words form and then you've got a new song.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Just following the heart.
Yeah.
However it's
I really don't have a pattern or a rhyme or reason to how or why I write. I just write and it happens.
But you do hear these cool stories. I can't name them like specifically, but you do hear stories of some of these mega artists that we know that need structure. They're like, I go to work.
Yeah.
I write best Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
And that's what they do every week.
Yeah. I used to, in Seattle, I would go out 3 or 4 nights a week and just sit in the bars and watch people and write and come up with, you know, if I couldn't hear their conversations, I would come up with what they were talking about or what they were doing or what kind of feelings they were having.
Now that's cool. I've never even thought of that before. That's neat.
Are you a fan of the Beatles?
Yes and no.
Controversy. No, I was kidding. No, I bring them up because it's well documented that in those early years, Lennon and McCartney would have to be like, all right, you know, tomorrow afternoon,
we're going to write.
We're going to write. Come to the hotel. Yep. Let's I have an idea. I know you have an idea. Let's help each other finish these songs. And 3 hours later, they have a hit.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, you know?
Yeah. So, I wish I could write like that. But, you know, everybody has their own way of doing things.
That's just it. So, what do you do now? Like, what is your career, if you don't mind me asking?
I actually do IT support. I still work for a company back in Seattle.
Oh,
so you can work from home.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you were able to take your job with you.
Yes.
Bam, man.
That's why we did the move across country. Is both my wife and I work remotely, and it was never going to change. So we're like, well, we can move wherever we want as long as it's got high-speed internet.
And you chose Mississippi.
Does have that. It's new.
Yeah.
But no,
We don't
sorry,
have it.
Mississippi.
No, we don't have it everywhere.
Well, we got a huge house with a bunch of land for half the price of what we had in Seattle.
Sure.
So, it kind of made sense.
Right.
How long have you been with that business?
I have been doing IT support for the better portion of 25 years.
Okay.
Nice, man.
After they kicked me out of art school, I always had a thing for computers and technology since I was a kid, just like with music. And so I fell back on that.
Wow, you're like balanced right and left brain.
Yes.
That's pretty. I'm two left brains. Seriously. All right. I don't want to dig deep, but I genuinely would be interested on your take on the Beatles. You know, it's interesting because they're one of my favorite bands, obviously, and that's easy to say. It's like not some grand announcement. Yes, everyone, the Beatles are great and I love them.
Derek is special.
But I'd love to hear the opposite.
So the opposite for me is, while I love the Beatles, I've recently come to I can't listen to them anymore, namely because on our cross-country drive, my iPod decided to go full-on Beatles crazy. And even though it was on random, like every other song was a Beatles song. And so you're driving 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, and all you hear is Beatles songs. Every other song, you're just like, oh my God, I could stop.
I could get over that in a hurry.
Yeah.
No, they're one of the bands I can't.
You see,
it's always interesting.
I'm the opposite.
I love it.
People always look at me like I'm crazy being a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Two bands that it took me a very long time to begin to understand: the Beatles and Led Zeppelin.
Wow. No shit.
When I was in high school, everybody loved Led Zeppelin. I didn't get it.
How could you not?
I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Please tell me you do now.
Oh, I do now.
Okay,
Several years ago.
That was one of the reasons I picked up a guitar and
really
stuck with it.
It started to click with me several years ago, and now I totally get it.
I get it.
You know,
I get it. You know, it's funny. Just today, I had, or the last few weeks, my daughter's friend in the car will play System of a Down. Of course, I knew about them, and you know about their hits, and I always enjoyed the music because I'm Metallica, Pantera. I'm on the heavy metal side of things, and so what band was I talking about?
System of a Down.
Thank you. Oh, hold on. Oh, we need it.
Oh man! So you can't even do that right.
And this is the stuff that we love keeping in.
Yeah, we're not going to edit this out.
So here's a sound that just explains me losing my concentration. Squirrel. Okay.
Yep.
System of a Down.
Yep.
You know, so and then now it's clicking like there's such an interesting band. So now I can already tell that's going to be my new obsession. But it took me 20 years.
Right.
You know, so I get that, you know.
Yeah.
So Beatles, worn out. Are you into the Zeppelin, Rolling Stones? Because you did mention you like 70s, you like a little retro.
I might be a little bit into Zeppelin.
Just
I don't know.
little.
Oh, there we go.
That's cool.
Get that up to the camera here.
Can we see?
Let's see that tat. Let's see. All right, Alex, let's
There we
move
go.
it to the center camera there. So explain the tattoo for us.
So it's the four-member symbols from Led Zeppelin 4,
Okay.
all worked into Jimmy Page's symbol.
Awesome.
So yeah, you're a fan.
A little bit.
Just a little bit of a fan.
According to my mother, I was still in the womb at the last Led Zeppelin show in Seattle, and that's kind of how it all started.
John Bonham really is a magician.
Every member of that band
Yeah.
was just magician. Like the stuff that they could pull off in just a small 4-piece group.
And John
was
Paul
amazing.
Jones, man, is such a biased bass player here, but I mean, his bass lines are every bit a part of the character and the sound and the riffs and the melodies. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, or the bass lines that he would play with his feet while playing keyboard bits.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then, but Bonham to me, he's just got that swing that you can't explain.
No
and
question.
no one has that swing.
Yep,
that feel
not
he
even
has.
his kid.
No.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
He comes close, but
I'm a fan of
still.
Jason Bonham.
Yeah, Jason Bonham's a great
Hell
drummer.
yeah.
Big fan, but he's not his dad.
Yeah,
Of course.
Nobody. I mean, it's just not going to be replicated.
Yeah, but no disrespect.
No.
He listens to the show. Sorry, Jason.
Look, I'm pretty sure Jason would agree.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what he's trying to live up to.
Yeah.
And it's pretty.
It's big shoes to fill.
Yeah, pretty big shoes. So being from that area, and just meeting you today, what did you think about the Seattle movement?
Good question. I didn't
So
even
for
think of that.
me, it was still happening while I was in like junior high, early high school. And so
me too.
So it sounds like you're my age then. I graduated in 96.
94.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So I got to hear all the really cool stuff before like Nirvana became big. Like my favorite album that year, or the last couple of years of the grunge scene that I was into was Nirvana's Bleach.
Okay.
A friend of mine played it for me. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then
Classic.
I've always been a fan of Mother Love Bone, which is another great band that really didn't get its time. But, they gave us Pearl Jam, which is an okay trade-off, I guess.
I'm first 2 albums Pearl Jam.
Yeah. Beyond Versus, it's kind of hit and miss, but
They had their hits. And Pearl Jam's, what I love is it's still the original band minus the drummers. Right. but they're still doing it. They're out there. God, it's just like, that's awesome. They really stood the test of time, and a lot of people still go to their shows because they're good artists.
And they still sell a lot of records.
Yeah, but that first album, Green Day, Dookie.
Oh, yeah.
Nirvana, Nevermind. And then I went backwards to Bleach.
Okay.
Those were some of the new grunge kind of vibes that attached to me soon. But then the Metallica Black Album was right there with it. So
I remember seeing them on that tour.
It's a grunge movement, but man, Metallica was there just plowing ahead.
And then Guns N' Roses with Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Yeah. So they kind of came out of the 80s, was like, they just launched forward. They got bigger where so many bands just kind of got lost, So that's exciting. You mentioned, you called it new wave.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the term is for this style and era that I've always loved, but it is the Tears for Fears, the Simple Minds, the more of the In Excess. I always called it retro.
Yeah,
but
they were a little less synthesizer and keyboards. When I say new wave, I mean bands like early Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, New Order.
Cool,
love all that too. I generalize and I lump that stuff in what I'm trying to explain. Like all that music, I love.
The stuff that I grew up listening to on the radio and would sit there with my cassette deck trying to get songs off the...
and the production too. Like it's full of melody and harmony. It's beautiful music. But then you just hear all the different little Easter eggs around and just those, and you will hear something new after listening to it 50 times. You're like, I didn't notice that shaker.
Yeah,
it's just really nice. I like it.
Yeah, Depeche Mode, I love them. I'm glad you brought them up. That was a great band. I really enjoyed what
I do some fun Depeche Mode covers for Son Red, and then also in my solo stuff.
Yeah, cool. And I don't know if we asked this already, but is there a website or a link where people can go to hear your music?
There's several actually.
Okay, well, spout them out because that's what
you asked me to remember things like that.
We in the description.
We can always add it.
You will. No, I already have like them listed out. So I would like to add to it. Maybe after we're done.
Sure.
Give me some more links. But what I have right now is your Facebook, your band Facebook, your website, your SoundCloud link where you can find your music. And I noticed that you also put like the live jams in there, rough mixes. You're very clear on what you're getting. It's really cool. And it's a long list of songs.
Yeah.
It's a good chunk of music. So go click that SoundCloud link, and go see the music. And off mic, I'll get more links if you want to send people other places. So
once I've got a huge catalog of music between the last 4 bands that I've been in.
Okay, cool. And once you are able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and have your band back the way you want it, are you looking to gig locally with original music? Okay. And
what kind of venues are you looking at? Have you done any exploring? Because we can kind of
I haven't yet. Directions. I mean, I've gone to see 2 shows, I think, since we've been here.
Where did you go?
One at Ernestine and Hazel's. Yeah. And then one, my God, I can't remember the name of it. But it was like a beer and wine only type little club. Okay. I mean, it was a fun club, but I'd play there maybe.
Are you familiar with Elevation Memphis?
No.
They play the Ernstine's place a lot.
I'm pretty sure the Fast Mothers play there.
Yeah, that's where I saw them.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Let's talk about Fast Mothers.
All right.
Yeah, that's so cool because we're just getting to know them too right now in real time because of this podcast. And as we are recording this on New Year's Day, we had a fun time with their whole band at Neil's Friday night and we got into depth in that already. Yeah. But on a different episode. But characters, man. How long have you known the great Chris and Tracy Rubel?
I've known Chris for a couple of years now through Facebook.
Okay.
He used to jam with an old bass player of mine, Dave, and I think he might have been pre-Fast Mothers or during it. I don't know.
Okay.
But Dave and I met in Seattle with my band, the Kamikazes. He came and played bass for me.
All right.
And then I moved down here, and Chris is like, hey, man, we need to hang out now that you're in the area.
Cool.
Sounds like Chris.
Yeah.
It does.
Like
Absolutely.
we had dinner with him. Just
Yeah.
me, Jeff, and Chris. We met at a Mexican place,
Yep.
Casa Fiesta.
Something like that.
It's in Olive Branch.
Olive Branch, yeah.
And and then now I finally met Tracy.
Yep.
Just 2 nights ago.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was nice, and like it was heartwarming and just cool to they love the scene so much, and
Yeah.
they're so nice to us.
Yeah.
Like they have just open arms. Like,
Yeah.
and so Tracy literally. The first meeting I have, he's walking up to me with open arms
Yep.
and going for
Absolutely.
the hug, and we've never met before.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm down with that. Like
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I like to be too.
Absolutely.
So it's fun getting to know them. They're going to be in here too.
Oh, cool.
So, their music too, I will say, I don't want to do this to them because when you start like in their sound, think of this amazing legendary band. It's unfair to them sometimes.
I don't think so.
In my opinion, though, the vibe I get from them is Blackberry Smoke,
Yeah.
Black Crows.
I was going to say Black Crows, definitely.
I
I think that's good company to be mentioned in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Although I do see that
won't
Chris
mind
plays Black Crows all the time. So.
Yeah, but he I've had the fortune to see Blackberry Smoke live,
Mhm.
and he brings that same tempo.
Yeah.
It's laid back, you know, and it really just bounces and punches, and then everyone else in front of him on the stage are just amazing.
Yeah.
So, well, that's cool that we have that connection. Hopefully, hopefully they can play more. And again, we pray for Cricket.
Yeah.
So, have you met Cricket?
I think I met him briefly at the show. It was really like time got monopolized between Chris and Tracy, and then my wife and I just enjoying the food and people watching.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
So it was like our first real going out show.
And where
Right.
was it again?
Ernstein and Hazels.
Okay. Yeah. Well, great. You
Yeah.
know, I've only heard them at Neil's, but I would imagine you get more volume at Neil's.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's cool. So,
Yeah.
what does the future look like for you? Like, I know obviously you focusing on putting a band together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like number one focus right now, or?
It's up there. I've also considered continuing doing my solo stuff. I used to do a lot of solo acoustic performances when I was in Seattle, and I'd make some originals that I wouldn't write for the band or previous band stuff. A lot of covers, just kind of a wide version or wide variation of stuff.
Right.
Enough to fill a 3-hour night.
No, God, no, I cannot. I long for the days that I could actually sing for that long, but like at 45 minutes to an hour, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to, I'm not a young kid anymore. So,
Right.
No shame in that, bro. Yeah. So,
and plus, who wants to listen to the same person for 3 hours unless it's like Prince or Bowie? But that's not going to happen anymore.
no, unfortunately not. Well, look, man, it's been a pleasure to get to know you and have you in here, and I'm always going to invite people back.
Awesome.
So this
Sure.
isn't a one and done.
Sweet.
We like having conversation, and that was fun. That was unique because I don't know, we didn't know you so deeply. We just ended up bullshitting about music and who we like and everything. So
Well,
I hope people found that interesting.
We do know him better than we did when we started this thing.
absolutely.
So, and that's the goal. And look, good luck putting a band together.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can do what you want to do and get out there and play and show Memphis what you got.
Yeah.
And
I'm
maybe
looking forward to it.
maybe even get in a studio and do some recording and get us some music we can all
Just
download.
keep going to shows. Go see Fever Tree. Go see Every Mother's Nightmare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go to see those bands because that's the circle that we're being blessed with right now, and they're good people.
And there is a local band here, and I'm gonna get myself in trouble because I can't remember names right off the top of my head, but they do a lot of Zeppelin.
Who does?
Yeah, good job, Jeff. I just squirrel me. Yeah. So anyway, just do a search for a local band that does Zeppelin covers. I'm a dumbass.
All right, before we derail here, let's we're gonna now tell the audience how to support. Right now, first you got to find us. So Jeff, where can they find us?
Facebook, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and soon to be some other platforms.
Maybe. And YouTube, I want to really quick, if you already watch us on Facebook, because we do publish the full episode every Monday at 6, if you watch it, Jimmy Fault, with your wife in the living room.
Oh, that's so
If you're watching it on Facebook, just jump over to YouTube for us.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to support, because full disclosure, and I don't hide behind this, it's a monetized channel, and it will help give us some resources to continue this
like
thing.
300,000 of you guys watch it, we get $2.
That's right.
So
that's better than Spotify.
And then Patreon, go to our Patreon link in our description. We have a tip jar in there. It's just $1 a month. If you can spare $12 a year. Again, that just adds to the pot here and would be hugely helpful. So, Jeff, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Travis.
Yes, and we'll do this again.
All right.
Absolutely.
Take care. Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.